You ready? Yes. I'd like to call to order the City of Haslet City Council this Monday night, November 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. We do have a quorum, being Councilmember Morrow, Mayor Pro Tem Broyles, and Councilmember Ricketts. Item 2 is invocation and pledge of allegiance. If you would bow your head with me and then stand for the pledge of allegiance. Thank you, Almighty God, for the many blessings you've given us. We thank you for your wisdom, your guidance. We ask that you watch over us continually. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You know, as I say that pledge of allegiance, I think and contemplate on those words, and they mean so very much to me right now in the state of the world and state of just the state of everything. I'd ask that you contemplate on those words. Item 3, citizen participation and comments. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the city council? Is there anybody online? All right, then let's go to item 4, community interest. All city offices and the library will be closed from Thursday, November 23rd through November 25th for Thanksgiving holiday. Saturday, December the 2nd is Christmas in the Park from 3 to 7 p.m. at Gammill and Community Park. It's a great time. Please come out. Haslet is hiring City Secretary, Public Works Supervisor, Parks and Ground Maintenance Workers 1, Water Maintenance Workers 1 and 2. Please visit our website under Employment Opportunities. Administrative reports. Council, do we have any questions on the administrative reports?
Marcy already addressed with me, but I noticed we didn't get an engineering report. Are we going to get a new engineering report?
We will email those out. In fact, late this evening, I was checking on my phone. I saw an email from the city engineer that he sent in his report at the last minute. We will send those out to you via email tomorrow. Just our practice is if they are not, any report is not available, has not been submitted to the staff at the time of posting, we are henceforth, we will note that report and then put a remark, not available at the time of posting, so you'll understand, so you don't think that we forgot it. Very good. No questions on the reports. Let's go to updates and active items project event recap. FM 156 Tech Dot Maintenance Project. You saw on the website we notified about it's a maintenance project and it'll be done in different phases. They'll do some road repair, some bridge repair, and then finally come back in the spring, late spring, and do a resurfacing of the entire roadway. That's from Intermodal down to 287. This is not in lieu of FM 156 expansion. Please understand that. I've heard those questions. So this is what we get instead of a widening. No, this is a scheduled maintenance project TxDOT has, which is independent of the widening project. just as a recap on the widening project, it is still not on TxDOT's 10-year plan. So we don't have a schedule of any sort when this has come to be. As time allows and we're getting to that point, I will make my efforts towards communicating with our three transportation commissioners in Austin the need for expansion here in Haslet. Both the north end and the south end have been done. Probably one of the more demanding aspects of 156 hasn't. So we'll make that a focus in the near future.
Mayor Halsey, I just had a quick question. When we're not saying we're not on the 10-year plan, does that include no, it's not funded at this time either?
That's correct.
Then I was just curious, how do they fund the project? Is it grant, a bond, or
When
what?
it moves up in their 10-year plan
Mhm.
and it gets closer and closer, then they allocate funds to the project.
And then, okay, that makes sense. And then I know I was curious if has there been a traffic impact analysis since the TxDOT has done, since like 2018?
Not one that TxDOT's done, but Haslet has done one. And we are in the final phases of the review of it. And you will see that in the December, that'll be presented at the December council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
What date is that council meeting? December the 11th. So staff and I will be presenting that analysis. Asset Parkway construction project. Utilities still pose a problem. There is a recovery plan in process. I've been working with North Central Texas Council of Government and TxDOT on the recovery plan, and I'm not at liberty to say anything until they get back with me. But it'll be good.
Do we know how has it shifted the schedule to the right by how many months or weeks?
I know that due to utilities has shifted the schedule by a year. But you don't take that and go, oh, well, I extended it out. The recovery plan will have a new date. And when I receive that, I am at the mercy of COG and TxDOT right now for updating the governing body. Okay. Again, the Christmas in the Park. Well, there's no event recap because it haven't happened yet. So I think this is probably a Scribner error. Likewise, the legislative update. That's also because that's the next item on the agenda. That's everything that I have for that. Item 7, legislative updates, House bills and Senate bills affecting municipalities. Let me preface something in that. You know, such as in the 88th legislature, the regular session that closed out, those folks had over 2,000 bills they processed. Do you think they read those? No, it was impossible to read all those. The other aspect is, so let's say they do read a bill. Do they have the experience, have worked at a municipal level to understand how that particular bill would affect positively or negatively a municipality and the residents and the landowner? No. So it's incumbent upon each municipality to monitor these, to understand how they will affect it, both as a municipality, as the resident, as the landowner. And we communicate with them by resolution and otherwise our stance on it. So Mayor Pro Tem Broyles is heading that up to monitor all these House bills and Senate bills that affect municipalities. And I'm going to hand it over to Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Halsey. You'll recall in this last legislative session that the Texas Senate Bill 2038 passed that limited the municipality's ability to enforce an ordinance that pertains to ETJ property. And so by the time we found out about it, it, had already passed. So since that passing, I decided to research other bills that might directly affect the city of Haslet. I feel like in the future, it's important as a municipality to respond to bills that affect us in the form of a resolution. Right before you in your folder that I laid on your desk, you have a copy of several bills that have been placed on the legislature's calendar that will have a direct effect of the city of Haslet. The first two I'm going to talk about, and I'm just going to summarize it, and then later on your own free time, you can read through the bills yourself and come to your own conclusions of how that will affect the city. But Senate Bill 1787 and House Bill 3921, those bills apply to counties with populations of 300,000 plus. And this will directly affect the city of Haslet since we're in Tarrant County that definitely has over 300,000 population. The bills limit the minimum dwelling unit lot requirement. That directly affects ordinances that we have in place here in Haslet. SB 1787 has already passed the Senate on May the 11th, 2023, and it still needs to go before the House. And so I have signed up to get notified as these bills move through the process. So far right now, it's not on the calendar for this fourth session that Governor Abbott is having right now. The next two bills that are the same, one is the Senate Bill, House Bill, Senate Bill 1412 and House Bill 2789, limits a municipality's ability to enforce city ordinances relating to the regulation of accessory dwelling units by political subdivisions. As you know, we have that come before us many times on accessory buildings, what we allow and what we don't allow in the city of Haslet. So this would affect us directly if this passes. It has already passed the Senate. Senate Bill 1412 passed on April the 27th, and it still needs to go before the House. So,
One question
Yes.
about that. So is there a difference between accessory dwelling unit and accessory building? Like when you live in versus like shop? What's the,
Yes.
exactly, yes.
so what we see come to us are for accessory buildings.
Right,
not
but they're,
dwellings. But they're related.
yes.
Okay.
So, you have copies of these bills, so I think it's important for us to read through them, see how it might affect us based on our ordinances, and then maybe in the future, put a form of a resolution in place to send to the state on our position on them.
Mayor Pro Tem? Or Mayor?
Go ahead.
Just a quick question. I know we tried to do it on 2038 also. Do we know who's introducing these bills?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do,
The authors are in the top left-hand corner of each bill.
of the bills, yes.
Do we
Oh,
know,
yeah.
we know anything about these people that are offering these up?
I do know, yes, where some of them are from. Most of them are not local. Several of them, the first one, 1787, I believe he is from, it's being pushed by representatives from Houston area. there's a couple that are from this area. And the second one, the representative for House Bill 2789 Holland, he is from Walkwall in our area.
I want to make a comment on particularly this House Bill 3921 and Senate Bill 1787, where it says, and it's up on your screen there, this affects municipalities and counties of 300,000 or more. There are 254 counties in the state of Texas. We have a population of 29 million people. 17 out of the 254, those counties, are at a population greater than 300,000. Those 17 counties carry 21% of the population of the state of Texas, 22 million people. 4 of those counties are in our immediate area: Dallas County, Tarrant County, Denton County, and Collin County. Now, if you go down here as you read, in fact, I got it's highlighted on the screen. You can't pass an ordinance, according to this thing, that's larger than 1,400 square feet. We think 4,000 square feet small? Look at that. And then on the next page, go to the next page, please. We all have that term, how many lots per acre? Ours is 2. In fact, our most dense subdivisions using, they end up with a density of it's, I believe it is 2, or actually maybe just under 2 lots per acre. By the time you discount the gas wells, frac ponds, floodplain, and all that business. But they're saying here, so keep that in mind, 2 lots per acre. You can't have any fewer than 31 lots per acre. 31, or 31 units per acre. I think that's a 16 times increase in the number of people. Do you think the roads are crowded now? We need to pay attention to these things. So municipalities, I'm going to do my part contacting my peer mayors and counties. I do know this. Majority of legislation written as considered is written by lobbyists. They have a strong say. They carry the money. So I don't think that, hopefully, I pray to God it's not our elected officials thinking that we need to turn every aspect of North Texas and other parts of Texas into LA, worse than LA. So it's incumbent upon this. This is a serious thing. And so we'll make every effort we can to monitor this. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And this is important. I'll conclude with that. All right. Consent agenda. Council, you have the council minutes from 16 October 2023, special city council meeting October 30, 2023. And you have the proposed city council meeting schedule for the upcoming year. Do you have any questions? Anything you would like to pull?
I just noticed quickly on the meeting session for next year, you still had July 1st right there. I'm just trying, it did go through and actually looked at where we have holidays and that, because now we had to pull some this year.
Yes,
Okay,
but the July 1st is still this July 1st is a manageable date.
okay. I just wanted to make sure on some of these dates that we actually looked at that. side.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
then I move to accept the consent agenda as written.
Motion is made to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Public hearings, ordinances, and resolution action items. 9A is discuss and consider an act to appoint an applicant to serve on the library board. Our applicant is whom? Is Miss Kathy Van Zant.
Mayor Halsey, I
Yes.
would like to make a motion to approve Kathy Van Zant for position on to serve on the library board.
Motion is made to approve Kathy Van Zant as a member of the library board. Is there a second?
I'll second. Will she be place one?
I am not sure of the place. No. What place do we have? Yes, that would be place one.
I'll second that.
It is place one, and there is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. 9B, discuss, consider, and act regarding approval of the 2024 insurance benefits for employees. Ms. Lamb, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This report is based off of our insurance broker hub is who we use, and they've gone out and looked at all of our current health benefit providers, and where we didn't already have a rate guarantee for the current fiscal year, they contacted our current providers to see if there was any rate increases or decreases. We only had two that were making any changes. One was Blue Cross Blue Shield for our major medical, and they're having a 0.4% increase in the premium to the city. And then our dental provider, MetLife, is proposing a 5% increase. And if you'll remember, they were the provider last year that had offered us 10% decrease from our provider 2 years ago. So we're still coming out ahead by utilizing that provider. All of the other coverages that we have, we either had a rate guarantee in place for this fiscal year, or the providers said there would be no change to the rates. And so normally we go out for full bids on all of these when those rate guarantees expire. The financial impact to the city on the medical insurance is only $1,596 for the medical, and for the dental is $943. So that is a total increase in the bill of $2,539. In the budget for fiscal year 23-24, we included an estimate of a 4% increase for these benefits. And we also provided for the open positions that you see on the agenda that are not filled. So those positions are still budgeted with the full-time ones with benefits. But for the current employees that we have, that represents a budget reduction of $11,489. And so the recommendation from HUB is to go ahead and utilize the same providers and accept the rate increases from Blue Cross Blue Shield and MetLife. And the recommendation before you this evening is to have the city absorb that $2,500 increase and not pass along that cost to the employees. Leave costs to the employees the same.
And that was my recommendation. It's this fall increase. I have, in talking with folks in the industry, it's not uncommon in today's time, especially now, to see as much as a 20% increase. So this is really outstanding. And so I support just what Marcy imparted to you, and that the city absorbed that $2,539. There is no rate increases to the employee.
Mayor Halsey, just to clarify and everything too, I just see it's a budget reduction 11 because we had already planned for probably much higher than, so we're just absorbing and still having a reduction for what we planned this last summer.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Um,
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2024 insurance benefits for employees as presented.
Motion is made to approve the 2024 insurance benefits for employees as presented. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, council. 9C, discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of an ordinance adopting the 2023 National Electric Code and the North Central Texas Council of Governments Regional and Haslet Local Amendment. Mr. Thetford, are you online?
Yes, sir, I am. Sure, I am.
All right, you want to do a brief presentation, please?
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Can you hear me, sir? Okay. Good evening, Mayor Council. So this is one of a few code adoptions that we'll be bringing to you. This is the first one. So National Electric Code 2023. Just a little background. Every 3 years, the National Electric Code is revised and published with the latest safety and health practices established by the NFPA. And the North Central Texas Council of Governments and city staff have recommended adoption of the 2023 code, as well as the certain amendments and 23 edition of the code to reflect local accepted practices. City currently operates under the 2014 code. Just a little more background. So the state of Texas has already adopted the 23 code as of September 1st. We're just playing a little catch up to that. We do have one local amendment. It's in your packet there. And you also notice the rest of the COG amendments as well. We have adopted those in whole. I'll be happy to entertain any questions if you have anything.
I have a question. My question is anything grandfathered in this if there's something already currently in work?
There are grandfathering clauses. This is going to be basically for new construction or major alterations.
Now, to clarify, I think where you're going, if it's already permitted, they are grandfathered under the previous code. Is that correct, Mike?
Essentially, the only thing with this code here, if a permit's already issued, if they have not already started their electrical runs, then they'll have to be up to the current code with the new electrical portions of the project.
So my question is, if these these units that are actually being developed right now, is this being shared down to I know it's a pass through down to the person actually buying it and having to live up to those codes, but I'm just making sure that everyone understands that they'd be up to these new codes at that point.
Yes, we've actually sent a letter out to all the builders and contractors that we currently have building right now, and everybody is aware that we're meeting on this tonight.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll also add, so the state, under state law, the PUC has to adopt the latest edition of the National Electrical Code every 3 years. And so the 2023 NEC has already been adopted by the state. And so when Mike was speaking with electricians, they're saying, well, we already have to comply with the 2023, but just based off their professional licensing. And so they're familiar with it, they're aware of it. And for the most part, electricians are already subject to it because it's already become the law of the land on a statewide level.
Okay, Mayor Holsey, I would
Yes.
like to make a motion to approve the ordinance adopting the 2023 National Electrical Code and the NCT-COG Regional and Haslet Local Amendments.
Motion is made to approve the ordinance adopting the 2023 National Electric Code and the NCT COG Regional and Haslet Local Amendments. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to jump to item 9G. 9G is discuss, consider, and act to approve an interlocal agreement, ILA, with Tarrant County Public Health Environmental Health, and adopt an ordinance amending regulations regarding food establishments and adopt regulations regarding public swimming pools and spas. Mike, and sir, what's your name again? Mitchell. Mitchell is here with the county. But Mike, do you want to go ahead and introduce this topic?
Yes, sir. This is an interlocal agreement, as you stated. This is we had to rewrite the ordinance just to kind of reflect to the food establishments and a new portion of the code for public swimming pools. The county and swimming pools. And I think Mr. Mitchell there can provide a little more information.
Temporary food events as well. And then we also inspect the school kitchens as well. So each of those is inspected at least once per semester. So then, what you'll see is we do permit approvals, plan reviews and all that kind of thing, new construction, remodels, changes of ownership for new restaurants, things like that. All of our restaurants are basically on risk-based inspection protocol, which means basically we have things like convenience stores that are not serving any open type foods on our lowest tier to, the highest multi functional type restaurants that are doing specialized processes and, all the fancy new stuff that you see where they're packaging foods and things like that. Those are on the higher end. And then we do also, follow-up inspections to all of our places that end up doing, more poorly than we would like. We also do foodborne illness investigations and also permit and inspect the farmers markets and the temporary events. Child care centers, if they have a kitchen in there that they're going to serve from, they are usually required to get a permit from us. That is, public child care centers, not in-home type care on those really small scales. But we do the inspection of the whole establishment, and if that childcare requests it for us to do that, we do that free of charge. You can see the numbers break down here for your city in particular. From 21 to current, up to the current date. So 50 basically regular inspections for 21 and 22, and just above 50 because we are growing a little bit. So, you know, we're seeing a few more inspections lately. And disease investigations have been very low in this city, so we're not seeing a lot of those at this time, but if they do come up, we would be on top of those. Follow-ups, you know, like I said, those come up whenever we do a place and it doesn't, you know, score up to par or something like that. And then the total number of permits you see there, you do have 42 permits with that are food facilities and childcares. There's 3 that are permitted right now. And then there isn't a portion to update the public swimming pool portion as well. So public swimming pools are permitted as well as splash pads, spas. These are only in the public sector, so not your backyard swimming pool, but your hotels, motels, apartments, HOAs, things like that. And you know, if there were to be a water park or a gym or something like that at the school, we would investigate complaints again with those water facilities, illness complaints that may come from a waterborne illness or something. We do also do plan reviews for those locations and then follow-up inspections as needed. And you'll see here again, the number of pools in this city is not very high, but it is a very important factor in safety for us to have regular inspections done there, because we do check fencing and things like that to make sure that there's no unwanted entry into those locations. So you do have 2 for 21, 10 for 22, and then 6 for this current year. So, but then, like I said, there's not much else following up on that. And then we have raised our fees at Tarrant County level to kind of come up. It has been a very long time since we've raised fees at the county level, and you know, with more and more people moving into our county, including in your area, we do have to have more inspectors out in the field actually doing work, and these fees will cover those additional inspectors. Thank you for your time. And I will answer any questions that you have.
I have a question. You mentioned farmer's market. So what is it that you inspect at a farmer's market?
There are several aspects, but you know, anytime someone wants to serve an open food or potentially hazardous or time or temperature control for safety product, we do need to look at those to make sure that they're following proper protocol. It's not the produce vendors that we're there really looking at. They're just there selling their whole produce, but we are talking about things like frozen meat products, eggs that are not graded or pasteurized or anything like that. So they may have a potentially harmful element to them. And then things like packaged products that would normally be, you know, no problem at all, say jams or jellies or honey. But once they're open and if they're trying to sample them, then the handling process becomes a potential contaminant process. So that's why we would look at those kind of things.
In the statute, there is allows for, you know, I'm not going to get the term correct. Maybe you help me out. But say someone is doing some baked good or pie, or I forgot the term that they used, from their home, and they can do that. And do you have any play in that?
We do not regulate the cottage food that you're talking
Cottage
about.
food industry.
Cottage food industry is regulated by the state. We do not have the authority to regulate that. Any food that is not on that approved list may fall to us to regulate, but those things are at the
Okay.
state level.
I like pies and cakes and barbecue. So if I were to try to get a baking, cook-off, pie contest. Would that be regulated? I mean, would
That-
you inspect that?
It depends on your audience, because our permits are for serving to the public. So if it's a private event, we may have no hand in it. If it is one of those types of foods regulated by cottage food, no hand in it. If it's something where you want to open it up to the general public and you want to serve those products that are more potentially hazardous to public health, then we would suggest that you be operating under a temporary permit.
So what if we had a barbecue cook-off?
That would be one that we would be in charge of inspection.
Understood. Well, very good, very good. Well, that was a great overview. Council, you got any questions?
Yes, I do. Along the same line, the farmer's market one was the same one that I had. But continuing with respect to the farmer's market, it's $100 fee. How long does that fee or that permit good for? And do they have to get one for each time? Like, let's say they have a weekly or monthly.
Generally speaking, no. The farmer's market is for a 1-year permit, and it is for any location that is regulated by Tarrant County. So if they have a farmer's market that they're running in your city, or if they're running 2 in your city, say, that permit would cover them for both.
Is there, if you ran across something and found out that they were in violation, that they should have gotten a permit, how do you handle that?
Generally speaking, we issue a notice of violation. We do try very hard to encourage people to operate within the law. Of course, sometimes we have to contact our city council, our contacts at the city, in order to help us get enforcement or something done, which we work, very closely with most of our cities in order to do that. So if, and most cities are very well aware of their temporary events or farmers markets or anything like that. And so there's usually not a problem getting those helpful nudges to get us going in the right direction. But like I said, we will issue a notice to them that says, hey, well, we believe the product that you have is potentially dangerous to the public if it's not treated correctly. You can come in and get permits with us, or you can cease your operation, or we can contact your city in order to get you to comply.
Mayor, would you mind turning on your mic?
Excuse me, thank you. So those folks who are brick and mortar or mobile unit or any entity that's subject to a health inspection, should they have their health inspection posted?
Yes, that is a requirement actually of the state law that says that permit, well, it says it has to be available for anybody who asks.
Okay.
And they do have certain aspects that are supposed to be posted to the public, like their food manager cards, et cetera. We do suggest that they post those permits and their inspections to the public, but like I said, it does say that they have to be available upon request.
Now, I was speaking with Mr. Thetford about our process. What we do locally. Now, we don't do these inspections locally. That's a Tarrant County provided service. But say whether it be a brick and mortar or a mobile unit comes in and they're a food establishment. Before they get a permit from the city of Haslet, they have to produce Tarrant County Health Inspection, or they do not get a permit. So that's how our check and balance. Another thing I asked Mike, okay, so during the course of the year, we don't do any inspections ourselves, but if we happen to be somewhere and see something that's, whoa, wait a minute, then we can call Tarrant County.
Anytime, of course.
Mike, do you want to add anything in closing?
No, sure, that I believe you cover everything that I've got here.
Council, do you have any questions? Very good.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with Tarrant County Public Health, Environmental Health, and adopt an ordinance amending regulations regarding food establishments and adopt regulations regarding public swimming pools and spas.
Motion is made to approve the interlocal agreement.
I'll
Is
second.
Is there a second? There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you, sir. All right, council, if we can go back, we are on item 9D. Discuss, consider, and act on an ordinance annexing a portion of John Day Road right-of-way into the city limits of Haslet, Texas, being a 4.961 acre tract out of the MEP and PRR Company Survey Abstract Number 1130, Tarrant County, Texas, as deeded to the city in instrument number D 220197294, official property records of Tarrant County, Texas, and adopting a service plan for said area. Mr. Page.
Thank you. So back on September 11th, we had a specially called meeting where we began the annexation process for this portion of John Day Road. And if you all recall, it is the portion of John Day Road that runs south of Laterra. So it is to the west of Laterra South, to the east of the Latrell property. Laterra South property is now has been released. It's no longer in the ETJ. The area to the west is in Fort Worth ETJ. However, that roadway is owned by the city, is currently in the city's ETJ, was not part of the release petition as the city is the owner of it. And so back on September 11th, we began that process to initiate the annexation of that roadway. On October 16th, we conducted the 2 public hearings required by state law to allow the public to come in and to comment on either the annexation itself or the service plan that the city had drafted. And then today is the conclusion of that, where you all, there is an annexation ordinance before you that would formally annex this portion of John Day Road into the city limit. As we discussed, this will allow for police enforcement. We'll be able to place a speed limit on the road and other things like that. And so the other aspect of it, state law does require us to adopt a service plan. And so that is Exhibit B. And you'll see that there are quite a few components of that. And essentially all this is saying that when it becomes a part of the city is contractually obligated to treat it like any other part of the city. And so some of these aren't going to apply simply because this is just a roadway owned by the city. So there's not going to be likely any water or wastewater facilities, probably no solid waste collection, but there will be sheriff protection, there will be fire protection, emergency medical services. And this is just saying that the city will provide the same services it does to any other similarly situated roadway within the city. And that is a 10-year obligation to the city. But again, there shouldn't be any issue if again, it's a city-owned roadway. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mayor, just one quick question. What you just said on the fire department, that if it happens, fire on the west side, Fort Worth side, I know we're going to respond to it because we have the interlocal with our fire department too, but when you're talking about this annexation agreement and stuff, if it's in the Fort Worth ETJ, is there any special characteristics, anything like that? I know the easement we'll wonder about, but if it starts in the easement and works its way out,
So this annexation won't impact that at all. And so, like you said, we have an interlocal agreement with Fort Worth for the fire response, and so Chief Mays would be happy to answering those kind of questions if you ask him of that. But this annexation is not going to impact that. So we would just simply be required to respond to any fires, police matters, emergency services on that roadway. It doesn't mean that then we have to also respond or create any additional obligations for us to respond to the properties on either side of the roadway, because neither property is within the city limits or the ETJ now.
To answer your question, yes, I can affirm this does not affect our interlocal agreement in any way.
Okay, Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to pass the ordinance and annexing a portion of John Day Road right-of-way into the city limits of the city of Haslet, Texas, being a 4.961 acre tract out of the MEP and PRR County Survey, abstract number 1130, Tarrant County, Texas, as deeded to the city in instrument number D2201979294, official property records of Tarrant County, Texas, and adopting a service plan for said area.
The motion is made to approve an ordinance annexing upon a portion of John Day Road right-of-way as presented and adopting a service plan for said area. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Don't let that road, that asphalt out there is belongs to City of Haslet, please. 9E, discuss, consider, and act on a revised site plan and landscape plan for 1096 Schoolhouse Road. Mr. Swanky.
Yeah, Mayor Halsey, members of the council, this is a small site plan on 0.54 acres, and it contains 4,400 square foot of office building. And the offices can be either professional or medical offices. It's parked for medical, which is a little bit more stringent than the ordinary parking for just for general office. But can we go to the site plan, please? Keep on going. There you go. And this site plan is a little bit different than the one that was with the original zoning for this tract, where it had drive access completely around the building. This here, actually, the parking lines up with the existing parking to the north, which has an existing building on it. And but the fire department has reviewed this, and there's adequate coverage from the fire department standpoint. There are no new access points on the Schoolhouse Road. They'll be using the existing one that splits the property between the two site plans, the one to the north and this one. And having said that, the applicant is in the audience tonight.
Sir, do you have anything you want to say to this? Very good. Council, you have any questions of Mr. Swanky or the applicant?
I just had a question. So the access to this property will come off of Schoolhouse Road, not 156.
That is correct.
Will any come off of the diagonal of Schoolhouse Road? You know what I'm talking about? What is that?
100%,
goes-
yeah,
that
100%.
Intersects with 156.
100% of the access, as you can see on the drawing up there. Can you put your pointer on that, where the access point comes into it?
Okay,
Is right there.
that's the only access.
That's the only access.
Okay.
So that's the existing access.
That's the
point.
existing access.
Okay.
So just to clarify, this is just south of Froth Cafe and the businesses that frontage right there.
Yeah, and it's just south of where the city of Haslet has their plan review and inspection building.
All right then, council. There's no questions. All right, we'll go to the public hearing. I open the public hearing on this matter at 7:54 p.m. Is there anybody who would like to speak to this matter in the audience? There's none in the audience. Do we have anybody online who would like to speak to this matter? There's none online. Therefore, there's none in the chambers. There's none online. I close the public hearing at 7:55 p.m. All right, council, it's to you. Discuss, consider, and act.
I do have one additional question, Mayor Halsey. It's maybe for it also too. Again, The way I'm looking at this here, I don't see any site restrictions or anything else like that coming off the schoolhouse. I know that that's not been a greatest intersection, you know, we've had some issues with that intersection in the past here too. Is there anything, do we think that we're gonna have to add any more controls of that intersection?
No, 100% of this access is coming off the existing road, the schoolhouse road, and it should not impact anything to the south. If you're talking about the 156 access point, the schoolhouse road.
The reason I'm asking too, again, I don't think that there's gonna be any additional structures like we had when we put in the road for Haslet Parkway, when you could not, we had to put in a four-way stop now because you couldn't see down to the left. I'm just trying to make sure that everything, won't have any additional issues.
You know, fortunately, the access point is approximately 200 feet north of that intersection. And so there shouldn't be really any impact, stacking up. It'll, if it's professional office type, the usage won't be real intense. A lot of traffic in and out of it.
And then last, I guess, again, I should have asked the first time, this has already been through P and Z and they voted.
It has been approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission on October 24th, and it was unanimous.
Mayor Holsey,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the site and landscape plan for 1096 Schoolhouse Road.
Motion is made to accept the revised site and landscape plan for 1096 Schoolhouse Road. Is there a second?
I second that.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Very good. Thank you, council. 9F, discuss, consider, and act act to approve a resolution for casting votes for the election of members to the Tarrant Appraisal District Board of Directors. At the former city council meeting, I believe the meeting before last, we had made a nomination of 3 candidates ourselves. Mr. Rich Diot, Mr. Gary Lasada, Mr. Vince Jonte. Very good, thank you. You have 7 candidates on here, and I think that Mr. Alan Blaylock, he's the District 10 council member. But I do know this, is that Mr. Diot, Mr. Lasada, and Mr. Conte have been crucial in the changes that have been made at the Tarrant Appraisal District. And they still have plenty of work to do. But they've been very important in that matter, those 3 specifically. We have 4 votes. We have 4.
5 last year.
5 last year. I gave you a sample how that calculation is made and the tax code on how that is done as well. I have checked and kept in tune. There's a number of people that at the county level and Mr. Piante and Mr. Diot have the number of votes that they. I propose that we cast all 4 votes for Mr. Gary Lasada. He does need the extra vote. So that's my suggestion, that's my proposal to you, council.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve a resolution for casting all 4 votes for Mr. Gary Lasada for the election of members to the Tarrant Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Motion is made to pass with 4 votes for Mr. Gary Lasada for the Tarrant Appraisal District Board of Directors. Is there any further, is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll say.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Very good. Thank you, council. That ends our scheduled open session items. In executive session, the city council reserves the right to adjourn into executive session during the course of the meeting to seek legal advice from its attorney regarding any item on the posted agenda as authorized by section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Additionally, pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, City Council may adjourn into executive session in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.072 of the regulations regarding real property, purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. So I would like to recess the open meeting at 8:01, and council, if you'd meet me in the boardroom in 10 minutes, we'll resume that executive session. So we'll have that executive session. Everybody's here, okay. All right, I resume the open session, the city council meeting at 8:31 PM. All council members are present. And getting out my agenda again, where did it go? What's our agenda item? There you go. Thank you. There's no actions taken from the executive session. So 12, any future agenda items?
Yes, Mayor Halsey, I wanted to see about adding an item for the December 11th meeting regarding the replat of 451 Blue Mound Road East.
A item authority, and what do you want to see?
Oh, I'd like for it to have discussion, consideration, and action, but maybe just information for this
Well, that's
first
up to
time.
the client. Responding to requirements of the city in accordance with its ordinance.
The emails we've been receiving as council said that they haven't been, the city hasn't been responding.
The city has been responding. Is there are several out there that don't want to do what is necessary to our ordinance. Now, both parties, one's a plat, other one's building, is that I will be having hopefully meetings with both and offering, and we've already offered solutions. But with the plat is, if you will do this, then we can move through this. I know what their hesitancy are is donation of was required in the ordinance for right of. But also is to give them two paths forward, is do this, or I will have you come before the city council and ask for a waiver to that ordinance requirement.
Okay.
That's
I think,
what I would do.
okay, so I think one of the concerns was that the replat required, they talked about sewer, where they're putting a building and something else, bless you, and they're not doing any of the three items that the replat requires. I don't know much about it, I just,
But see, that's in our ordinance, but I will be working with them and go, if you do this, and these particular instances, our staff has to go far and beyond what any other client.
the email acts like it's been going on for years, so
It has, but it's not, I believe there are folks out there, I don't care what the ordinance says.
oh, that's
And,
the
and
case.
let me just interject because this item's not on tonight's agenda, so I don't want us to keep discussing
Oh,
and
that's true, okay,
deliberating
so-
on it. If it were to be added on to the next month's agenda, it would not be for the approval of the plat because under our ordinance, it has to first be approved by the P&Z. So if you're to want to have the item on next month, it would just be a general discussion on the application or
Okay.
things like that. There would be no way for the council to
To
approve
consider
it
act.
prior,
You know,
prior to
while
the
we're
P&Z.
talking,
Okay,
what
thank you.
concerns me at this stage on either project, this is not public business. It's not. And what
I don't know what the
business
other
do you-
project is, but
do
I
you-
was just,
Say it again?
I don't know what the other project is you're referring to. I was just wanting like an
But
update.
neither one of those is public business at this point.
They,
So it has no place being on a city council.
I thought I could ask for an agenda item to be placed
Yeah, you can
on,
ask for an agenda. I'm just, is what I just said? I mean, these, at the stages these are in, are they public business?
So it would depend on, again, what we were trying to discuss during the meeting. And so if you're just wanting to know what staff is recommending, that's all public, you know, but if there's anything else, like any recommendation from me or other attorney-client privilege or anything like that, that would obviously be something that need to be an executive session. But again, if it's just to discuss the plat requirements, the things that are currently missing, and then how they need to move forward, I think it's I don't want to say it's necessary or not, but you could discuss that. But again, there would be no action that council could take other than it just being an informative, purely informative,
Okay.
just to have a review. There would, but I think to the mayor's point though, it would probably be inappropriate for the council to debate whether or not those requirements are necessary or sufficient at this stage because it is still in the administrative review process by
Okay.
staff. And so again, we could have staff come in, the mayor discuss it, but
Informational only.
informational, because it would be almost like you all are interfering in the administrative functions prior to your duty. At some point, it will come to you to approve or not approve. But at this stage, there's nothing for you to do any action.
Well, I think that you said that well, that is, I know it's generally, it's done in with good intentions, but interfering with administrative functions, that's a big deal. So keep that in mind. I hope to have resolution for both of them prior to that next meeting.
I would use the term assisting, not interfering, but I do see the point of
But
it being
council members don't assist in
Our
the
citizens?
administrative function.
right. She had not, the emails that were sent said she had not received any communication with the city at all. And so that's the only reason I was asking. But if you're saying that there has been communication, then there must be an error there.
Well,
from
I
somebody.
know she's received communication. Last communications was, your engineer needs to do this, 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 and they have not responded. But I hope to have it resolved within.
Thank you.
All right. Aside from that, any agenda item? All right. Item 13, adjournment. May I have a motion?
Mayor Halsey, I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second that.
All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you.